Just before we start this video, I'd like to apologize for the bad job I've done on the screen protector. I put it on incorrectly, and now it's too late to go and fix it, so I decided to just keep it like that for the review. But other than that, let's just get on with the video. So I was looking on Amazon the other day, and basically what happened was, let's say you're in this scenario. Let's say like you're like traveling on your way, and you accidentally drop your phone in like some water or something, and then like the screen breaks or whatever, and you can't use it. So basically, I had this issue, so I decided to go on Amazon and look for a cheap new phone, because as you know, I couldn't afford like a $500 like sub-mid range like high-end phone that like everyone else has, so I need like a cheap alternative until I can afford a big one. So what I did is I looked online and I found this phone, which I was scrolling through Amazon and I found it, and it's called the BLU Advance 5.0 HD. Now, the reason why I tried to make a review of this phone, or at least try to look at it, I'm not doing like a full-on review like most of the YouTubers do, but I at least want to like let you guys know about it, because this phone, despite like the low-end like tech that it has inside of it, it's a really good phone for the price. I found this on Amazon for about $90 Canadian, and it was a really good deal at the time. So what I did is I decided to go buy it and unbox it for you guys. So let's go ahead and get on with the unboxing. As with every phone that you usually get online, it usually comes with the phone itself, usually with or without the battery. It usually comes with headsets. It comes with a power adapter with the micro USB, not Type C, because this phone, as you know, is a really low-end phone, so you wouldn't expect that to have that. Has the normal power adapter, has your screen protector, which is a really nice feature that I really like that they put in there. And one thing that BLU is really well known for is giving you a free case with your phone, which not a lot of companies do. And considering the fact this is a $90 phone, that's a really good deal that you're getting right there. Now, in terms of hardware, as I said before, this is a really cheap phone, but I'm going to be displaying the specs now on the screen. As you can see, it has a, basically what you should know is that it has a 1.3 gigahertz quad-core processor with about 1 gigabytes of RAM and 8 gigabytes of internal storage. And it has, I think it has 4G support, but with my cellular network, it doesn't seem to get 4G, it only gets 3G, so just be aware of that. And I'm with Rogers, which is a Canadian company, so just to let you know, like, it's like, so if you have AT&T in America, then it should have the same, it might have the same issues, so I would be aware of that. Other than that, it's a pretty decent like specs for a phone. Remember, it's only $90, so you aren't going to really be getting much with the phone itself. Now, I had to skip this video ahead because how hard it was to put the back on, take the back off of my phone, and I had to do it later, so just be aware of that. There's a little tab on the top of the phone that you have to take up that you can see in here in this video, and just make sure you're aware of that, and make sure you don't like get the volume key at the bottom, which I accidentally did at some point, and I accidentally damaged it. So just be aware that's the tab thing, and that thing at the bottom is the volume rocker. In terms of app performance, it's decent to say the most. There was a lot of like lag and stuff when I tried to play some games, and especially when I'm trying to use Messenger, it might not seem like it's lagging on this video, but like if you're trying to text and like let's say their chat's really lit and you're like trying to text, like you can't text on it. It would literally lag up the whole thing, and I'd have to like go on my computer to do any like type of like serious like spamming or whatever. So just be aware of that when you get the phone. When it comes to apps like Facebook, it's really decent. Lags a little bit more than my previous phone that I had, but it's still decent for 1 gigahertz of RAM. So it keeps up with whatever I'm doing, so I can use it every day if I wanted to. In terms of audio, that's one thing I really like about this phone. This phone's audio is actually better than my Sony Xperia Z3, but then again, the Z3's audio is really bad to begin with, so there's not much competition. Like for instance, with phones like the Nexus 6P, it's nothing compared to that. But compared to what I've seen, this one has some really decent sound. You can listen to it now.
The PlayStation 4 Slim recently came out, and you might be wondering what the differences are between it and the original PS4. I'm here to explain.
In terms of watching and display, it has a 720p HD screen display with Corning Gorilla Glass 3. It's not much like compared to phones nowadays that have like 1080p, and even some are getting even 12, I think 12 something, or 1440p. They're trying to get into phones nowadays, but considering the price, it's pretty good, not too bad. I can still use things like YouTube and stuff like that, and it shows pretty good display in 60 frames per second as well. Same thing when it comes to music. It has pretty good features when it comes to the music. I just go into the app, play whatever, and I can like get really good sound out of it because of its big volume rocker. So that's one thing I really like about this phone. And right now I'm going to be playing my favorite song on my phone. Now I did try out some apps on this phone. Some apps I tried out was like Uno or Angry Birds 2 and stuff like that. When it comes to low-powered apps, the apps run pretty smoothly on this phone. I didn't have much frame drops. Like I had some lag every now and again, but mostly it runs smoothly. When it comes to bigger apps like Family Guy or Real Racing 3 or something like that, you might run into issues. Like for instance, this Family Guy app doesn't seem to run on this phone, or nor does Racing Rivals, if you know what that game is. So just be aware that like this phone can't really be used as like a gaming phone unless you like use like simple games like the ones I said earlier. Then again, like I said, this is a really cheap phone, so you should be expecting that to work on there. Now, the absolutely worst thing about this phone, in my opinion, despite everything I said, is the camera. The camera, although it is an 8 megapixel front camera and a 2 megapixel rear facing camera, the quality is so much worse compared to my current camera. Now, that is pretty biased considering the fact that the camera I have currently is a 20.1 megapixel camera with 60 frames per second 4K recording, and the phone I have here is only about 720p with 30 frame per second recording. But like considering the fact that it's only 8 megapixels, but yet it takes camera quality that looks worse than like you usually see in an 8 megapixel camera. Because I know this for a fact because I used to have a Samsung Galaxy Note 2, and that's also 8 megapixels, but it had better camera quality than what it has on here. So just be aware of that when you're buying this phone. If you have like no choice and you need to take pictures, then then you can go ahead and use that for pictures, but just be aware of that. When it comes to shading and darkness, it does get a little bit, but again, it won't like detect it as well as any other phone. The laser detection is not that good, well put together on this phone, but then again, you're only paying $90, so you have to get used to what you see here. One thing about this phone when you buy it is that it will have a bunch of apps on it that are already on it. Not too much. I think there's only 2 of them that has to do with like Amazon. There's this one called Blue Help Center or something like that. So the good news is you won't have any apps that you have to delete off it. If you want to do it yourself, then that's good with you. Then that's all you get. You're good to go. The overall body and design of the phone is pretty decent. It feels pretty fat compared to my old phone, but it's still pretty good in my hands. I don't really have much problem holding it and using it properly. Because I have the case on it, it has some really nice grip, so I don't have any like trouble of having to drop it. I haven't dropped it yet since I've bought it, so that's good. Now, like I said at the beginning of this review, this phone is not meant to replace a mid-range or high-end phone. This is only meant to be like a kind of like replacement phone to if you don't have that much money and you need like a phone until your plan resets or something like that, then this is the phone I'd recommend to you if you have that kind of like mindset. It can use most basic apps, most basic features on it, so it's just as good as any other Android phone when it comes to that sense. And personally, I would recommend it also for any like new phone users in the market. Like, see if you have kids who need any phones, it's a good phone for them, and it's really low price will be good on your wallet. That's basically it with this phone overlook. Thanks for taking time to watch this video. Now, like I said before, this is just like my first real like overlook of a cell phone or review of a real life product. So it has its twitches here and there, and I'm just trying out the concept on my channel. If you have any suggestions as how I can make this like better, then you can just go ahead and tell me in the comment section below. And if you have any suggestions for any new videos other than what I already have planned, then you can go ahead and tell me too. Other than cheap cell phones or stuff like that, because I plan on doing a lot of that stuff. I mean, reviews in general will be a rare thing on this channel, but I'll try to get some like here and there, and especially in the Nostalgia Break series, I'll start getting some old products in, maybe. Who knows, you know. The future of this channel is really in your hands and my hands, you know, so it's whatever I think of at the time. Now, other than that, that's it for this video. If you like this phone, or if you want to like purchase it yourself, I'll put a link in the description for the Amazon page. It's available, I think, all over North America, and worldwide it probably is. You just go to your version of Amazon, check if it's on there, and if you like the phone, then you can go ahead and buy it and tell them that I sent you. That's basically it with this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to brush your teeth, because that's really disgusting if you don't. I mean, seriously, brush your teeth.